Good evening. How often do you criticize yourself, other people? We seem to accept negative comments, criticism more eagerly and react suspiciously towards positive feedback and comments. They're nice to us. Compliments. My name is Agnieszka De Neve, and I would like to talk to you about my journey through femininity that have started over a decade ago and what I have learned through it. If you look around nowadays, it is so easy to see that we are set in a fight mode. Cosmetic industries are telling us to fight our bodies and time. Women are fighting against rules set by men. Feminists are fighting other feminists to prove who's the most true to the core of the movement. It is so easy to get yourself into the spiral of negative thoughts and let yourself be carried by it. The question is, do I really want to be a part of it? Is it my fight? Do we have a time to reflect on those things, ask ourselves those questions? Studies show that the people that we surround ourselves with have a significant influence on our lives and capabilities. They can influence our thoughts and behavior. They can help us grow as much as bring us down. Aaron Yalom speaks of the rippling effect. He refers to the fact that each of us, often without our intent or knowledge, we have impacted other people by our behaviors, by our thoughts, as much as ripples in a pond. We have impact on other people that can go through generations, years. I've been told by many people that I'm too old to be a model. I'm too old and too fat to go somewhere. And that I'm Polish, so I have only limited access to certain things. I'm never gonna go far. Boy, how happy I am that I never listened to them, right? What our mothers heard from their mothers is passed to us, and most likely we will pass it on to our daughters and granddaughters. That brings us back to that rippling effect I was talking about. Do we really want to find ourselves in a situation that this negative circle gets so tight that we do not see the light anymore? 15 years ago, I stumbled upon a person that didn't seem that important at that moment. I always loved dancing, so when I was deprived by it at the beginning of my studies, because, psychology at the University Jagiellońskiej, it pushes you just to study, you cannot do anything more, right? So when there was a first course, dancing course, that opened up in my neighborhood, I jumped on it. And it was belly dance course. I met a woman that changed my perspective and made me hungry for more. Imagine a group of women, all dressed in skirts, full makeup, little belts with the bells on it. Nothing special, yet might think. But during those weekly gatherings, I noticed that something is starting to change. And I'm not speaking only about my body awareness, acceptance of it, but also the way I started looking at other women. We Polish, we are known for our beautiful women. You can look around this room and see that it's true, right? Look at your left, look at your right, look at yourself in the mirror. We're all so beautiful. And I was always thought that you're my competition. I never understood why and what is this contest that we are in about. And during those 2 years that I spent at the ballet dance school, I started to realize that women can be so much more for each other than just an unhealthy trigger to be better. That only if we open our minds and our hearts, we can be so much more for each other. And our life as a woman can be so much easier thanks to the shared knowledge and experience. Shortly after that, I started belly dancing myself on a stage, and after that, teaching other women. And I noticed that the rippling effect is indeed real. This time, I was this little drop that started the ripples in the pond. I started meeting like-minded women that, just like me, wanted to empower others instead of fighting against this imaginative enemy that somebody taught us when we were small about. So, after that experience, I had to reconsider everything that I was taught. I had to reconsider this idea of a woman, the structure that was put in my family for generations. It was put in place because of the war and circumstances that my women of the family lived in. I was taught that I have to be strong, I have to be independent, and never, ever admit that I need men's help, because I can do so much better or the same as a man. But during those 2 years and what happened afterwards, I realized that I have to stop being ashamed. I have to stop being ashamed of being a woman, and that being vulnerable at times, asking for help, is a human thing to do. Yes, that was tough times. But then, I moved to Belgium. When I moved to Belgium, I was a little bit lost. It's a new country, new language. So what I wanted to do is start to acclimate myself, find my place in the world, find my place in the new environment I was in. So I started getting know pin-up style. You can't see it on the pictures, but you can see it on me. So basically, this is the retro style that was very, very famous in the 50s and 40s in the United States. When I started it, it was just a hobby for me. I was thinking, okay, it's nice. It's a nice way to start my life in the new country. But when a time passed, and I was hearing that pin-up is only being sexy, being confident, and red lipstick, for instance, I started asking questions. And I started asking questions to the other pin-ups from all over the world. And I quickly realized that pin-up is so much more than just the way you dress, the color of your lipstick, or taking part in amazing photo shoots. Again, I found myself surrounded by women who wanted to take initiative, who wanted to make a real change in their communities, who were volunteering, who were raising money for veterans, shelter animals, who were pilot, doctors, police women. But they were all united, and they were speaking about the same thing, that we have to be there for each other. Shortly before this presentation, I was asked if I'm going to speak of compliments, no. Uplifting somebody is so much more than a compliment. Compliment can make you feel good for a few minutes, sometimes days, depends what it is about. Uplifting somebody has a more permanent impact on somebody's life. And personally, I think this is the essence of the Women for Women movement. So what it is, this Women for Women movement? It is not only an organization that was set in the States that helps women by educating them or helping them in the case of war, in Nigeria, for instance, Uganda, or other African places. It is not only an organization that invites high-level speakers like Hillary Clinton that explain what is the women's part in this world. Who are we nowadays? It is also the movement that I was introduced by those pin-ups, by the pin-up community. Yes, like I said, I found myself around those women that were trying to unite. And Women for Women movement is growing because we start to realize that no one can help us, no one can understand us as effectively as another woman. When I came back to Poland, I wanted to bring back this movement here. So over past years, I conducted and organized over 100 workshops. The feedback I always get afterwards is how amazing it is to be surrounded by other women and feel natural, feel happy, feel in place. Women all over the world are starting to wake up and realize that fighting against each other, it's maybe not necessarily the best way to go towards the future. Yes, empowerment and unity. I know that I'm not alone. I know other women that created their businesses around this phenomenon. Their goal is to show you what is your potential, how much you're worth, sometimes in a not most subtle or non-invasive way, to guide you if you need it. I know of the other women that follow this movement naturally without even knowing it. I know there are some women sitting over here today that follow this movement without even naming it. So, I hope tomorrow you wake up and you're going to ask yourself the first question that will pop in your head: how can I uplift my beloved women today? Thank you very much.